Hey, welcome to another of the Couple with the Queen podcast. This is Jeri Taylor-Swade, and I am so excited because I'm actually doing a remote podcast right now in Southern California at the home of Joni Rogers-Kante, who is the founder and CEO and amazing woman that she is of SeneGence International. You all know, or most of you know when you listen to my podcast, that I am a SeneGence distributor. And I feel so honored right now because I flew down to California to actually be part of a video that they are taping and taped yesterday for the 20-year anniversary of SeneGence. And I've actually been with SeneGence for 20 years, so I am a founding pioneer distributor and so proud of that because there's a lot behind that 20 years.
There sure is.
And I want to thank Joni for being with me today. And thank you so much, Joni. We're taping in your office right now, and we're looking out at the beautiful ocean. So thank you so much for having me in your home today.
It's my pleasure. After all, you are the first queen of SeneGence, right? In fact, when you said
Couple with the Queen.
Couple with the Queen, I thought queen. And that took me back to the days of Palm Springs. Remember that weekend?
Yes.
We visited Palm Springs, and I sat you all down in a boardroom, remember?
Yes, I remember.
And I said, look, we've got a problem. And the problem is that we're growing so quickly, despite the fact that if you think back about it, we had what? 3,000 to 5,000 distributors at that point.
Maybe. I don't know.
And it was the problem was that we realized that we had, of course, distributors with the same names. Pamela here, Pamela there, Pamela in that part of the country, Pamela in this part of the country. And when someone called us and said, this is Pamela, and of course we wanted everyone to know that we knew who Pamela was, there was no way to attach to them which Pamela it was and in what way they were growing their business. And
or their achievements or what they had achieved or anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so we had to finally get to a point where we were going to attach a title to where they were in their business growth. Mm-hmm. And I remember sitting around that table with just a handful of you.
Five of us.
Yeah, 5. And going through the thought process of how we were going to name what we then discovered had to be ranks. And we decided to tie it to the compensation plan.
Yes. Because
that would make sense. And then remember all those discussions we had about
I sure do.
What kind of titles we wanted?
Yes, I remember because there's other multi-level marketing companies that have different titles for their achievements.
Like stars or jewels or
like directors and senior
executives
directors or
managers,
field leaders, field trainers, all those kind of things.
Right. So one of the girls said, I don't care what you call us. I'm a princess. And then,
No. You remember it incorrectly.
What happened?
Okay, it was the opposite. I remember this because we were laughing so hard about this. This was almost 20 years ago. She didn't want to be called a princess because she was a Jewish woman and she'd always been entitled, kind of. And everybody always teased her about being a Jewish princess. And she goes, oh no, I am not going to be called a princess, period, because I've already been teased about that my whole life. Remember that? And then
I was just trying to say it in a more delicate way.
Well, I mean, she's the one that said that. Yeah. And we were all laughing because it was so funny. And then because you had just said that you thought we should do royalty. And we were like, no. And she said no for sure. And then all of us are like, well, what? I don't know what that means. And you're like princess and, like queen and things like that. And we're like,
I was tying it into the good works of Diana, Princess Diana.
That's what you said.
Yeah, and all the powerful things you get to do when you are a princess and people, you have a voice. Yes. And you can mentor others and go out into the community and do good works. And that's what it was. And then we started thinking about...
And Princess Diana had just died. And when you said that, and when you said, what does she represent? Think about what she represents. Grace, elegance, all of those things. And the ones that you just said. And we're like, oh yeah, that kind of makes sense. So that's when we actually sat down and started naming those ranks and achievements of maiden and royal and all those things. And that's how it came about. And it was so cool. I mean, it's so, I love that when we look back on our culture now, like our SeneGence culture, it started from the very beginning with us that were starting the company, and how we had such a tight-knit bond and how we respected each other. We came from all different walks of life. And that's how distributors do. They, it doesn't matter. You don't have to have a college degree. It doesn't matter where you are in your life. If you choose to come into our company, you have every right and every opportunity to make this whatever you want it to be.
To become a part of goodness and wholeness.
Yes.
That's making a contribution one way or the other. And actually, one way or the other becomes multiple layers of goodness. And that's what it's all about. And of course, it always starts with a product line that really works, because then we don't have to worry about what it is we're passing on to someone else. Does it really work? Doesn't it work? Does it meet its claims? Of course it does. That's just the founding concept on how to build on truth. And then from there, everything we did, of course, worked into that premise, which is either a part of our career path. It applies to our corporate culture as well, within our employee base, and of course our product line as we continue to expand.
And the corporate team is so amazing now. But you've gone through a lot. Like, you've gone through a lot to get the team that you have now. And I remember you bringing in different people from the very beginning, and each one of them, in my eyes, because I'm looking at it from the field's point of view, you're looking at it as the owner of the company. From my eyes, what I saw as corporate people changed, most of the time it was because you brought them in for a need that you had at the time to do something to stabilize or to expand the company in some way. And then once they did their job or whatever, then you moved on.
They moved on as well, because they were brought in for, as you said, a specific purpose. And I love the corporate team that we have in place. I feel very confident about their skill sets, and we've spent enough time together now where they understand the culture of the company, and they will continue that culture. And of course, Alan is very much a part of that culture, so he'll always be the the steward of what we have created. It's in his blood.
Of your vision, of your dream, of your everything, because he's been raised in it.
Well, he is it. I mean, he's a product of it.
He's
and
a product.
He doesn't know.
He's a product of the SeneGence product.
Yeah,
and
the culture and what our standards are and what our expectations are. He just is that living, breathing human of that.
Well, and Alan is your oldest son.
Right.
And when you started the company, he was little.
He was little. And
was he 10 or 11?
I think he had just turned 12.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I'd have to back into that. But the point is that every level of growth requires different skill sets. And the corporate team that we have in place right now serves the level of growth that we're at now. And it will continue to evolve and change a little bit, as any business should,
right?
Just as your business.
Well, I was going to say, when you said that, I was thinking about from my side, from the field side, and working the business the way I do. It's changed a lot over the years, and you as a company continue to evolve and grow. And me as a distributor and my team and what I do continues to evolve and grow, because things change and you have to adapt or die. I remember when you told me that. I remember specifically when you told me that. We were driving in your car.
On the 405, I think.
On the 405 freeway. And you looked over at me and said, Jeri, if you don't start doing demos, you either do it or you die. What's your choice? And I didn't say anything at the time because I was really thinking about the powerful statement that you made. But I made the choice that I had to do what I was being told to do, because I knew that you guys knew, and I didn't know. I'd never been in this business or industry before. So I knew that I had to adapt and change the way I did things in order for me to survive in my business. And of course, we're still here. It's 20 years. I remember the very first, we're going to be going to seminar soon, celebrating our 20-year anniversary. It's just, I mean, I know it's going to be so emotional for you, but for me, it's beyond emotional as well, because we've been through a lot together over the years. And I remember the very first seminar we ever had was in a parking lot.
I remember that very well. I remember almost every single moment of that event. But what I remember most about it, because I see pictures of it all the time, is a picture of you and Alan dancing together in the parking lot. It's so sweet.
Yes, I remember.
You made me cry just thinking about it.
Oh, I remember, because he was little. Yeah. I mean, he was little, and he, he was like overwhelmed by all of that and what was happening, and I remember dancing with him, and and we've had a bond ever since, haven't we? Alan, every time Alan sees me, he gives me a big hug, no matter where in the world we are, and we have such a great bond, and I remember that. And that outfit that I wore for that grand opening seminar, I wore on our 15th anniversary as well. Are you
going to wear it on our 20th?
I think I gave it away.
Oh.
I shouldn't have.
I know, I've done that with some of my outfits too.
Yeah, I shouldn't have. But it's okay.
Speaking of which, you look great. You look the same, except your hair is shorter.
My hair was super long, almost down to my butt when I started. But you know what? I look great, and you look great after 20 years. Why? Because we have products that really work.
Yeah, that helps.
That really helps. Let's talk about some of the really challenges we've had.
Well, the first one was the popper stopper. I remember after it was our second seminar, because we were still in the very first building, which was an industrial complex.
And it was small.
That we moved into. It was small. It was $10,000 a month. So I knew that we could actually afford to pay the rent.
Yeah.
So that rent was a big deal to me, because we had been in the trailer first.
Yes.
And to make a $10,000 a month payment
that must
commitment,
have been super scary.
It was terrifying.
I bet.
It was terrifying. But we stayed in there for as long as we could, because we've always been very careful with the cash flow of the company, because and good thing, because I had to learn how to handle cash flow and learn how to order a whole bunch of product or tubes 6 months before you knew it, and then you had to pay for it before you even brought in that income. That was a huge learning curve for me, and I think I think that in itself is a challenge for most businesses and most independent contractors as well.
Oh my gosh!
They really have to learn how to. You're either going to run your business through customer direct, sending products directly to customers, or they have to learn how to do an inventory build. Either way, it's a choice you make in the way that you operate your business, and there are business rules that go with both of them. Anyway, I had to learn the hard way and do the cash flow thing. However, during that second year, something went wrong. Oh, I know. We hired a CFO, and he started ordering tubes, unbeknownst to me, that had been designed, by the way. Our tubes have been designed for the product.
Right.
Well, he didn't know that. I didn't know that he found a place where he could order tubes for a penny less.
Right.
Now, you think a penny is not much money, but when you're ordering as many tubes as we are, it was a lot of money.
Because we were selling millions of dollars by then.
So he thought that was a big win, when in fact the tubes didn't match up with the stoppers that went inside the tube.
But we didn't know that. We thought it was the stopper, remember?
Yes.
We thought it was the stopper, and it took us a long time.
I
say us, but it took you guys as corporate to figure it out. And we in the field were just we were tearing our hair out.
We didn't know that he had changed until long after.
Long after.
So the issue was, right after seminar, all of a sudden we realized the poppers were coming out of the tubes. We called it the popper stopper situation. And I called all the crown princesses. By then we had our $1 Million Girls in place, and we set up the lobby.
That was the year I became queen, I think.
The lobby Yes.
Yes.
You were queen, and all those crown princesses
Right.
were under you.
Right.
So we set up the lobby as a call center, brought in lots of phone lines, and you guys literally returned the day after seminar back to the corporate
on our own
headquarters
dime,
on your own dime,
because we were panicked,
and sat down and called every single distributor
by phone.
Yes, to find out how many stoppers,
how many tubes of product they had.
And you packaged up how many stoppers, new stoppers they needed to stick into those tubes.
Right.
After they opened it up and sold it to customers.
Because it was leaking.
It was leaking.
Everywhere.
Some of them were breaking off.
Yes.
It was falling on carpets, breaking in women's purses. It was just disastrous.
That one customer that put it in her fur pocket. She had LipSense, and she was a rich lady, and she had bought LipSense, and I don't remember whose customer it was. It wasn't my customer, but I remember the story. And she had put LipSense, I think it was blue red, in her fur coat, and you had to buy her a new fur coat. That was devastating.
Well, we couldn't afford a lot at that time, but we always tried to do what was right.
You always,
We've always tried to do the right thing.
And, talking about afford it, it's like, you had to really pinch pennies at the beginning. I mean, and now our company is debt free. We don't owe money to anyone. It's because of the lessons you learned and the people that you had in place that helped you learn what you needed to learn. And me as a distributor, I had to learn the same thing. Mm-hmm. But I remember sometimes we would be doing a trade show, and we helped each other a lot because we didn't have money back then. You didn't have money sometimes. I didn't have money sometimes. So I would borrow money from you sometimes. You would borrow money from me sometimes, because we were just trying to get it going. We were just trying to get this company off the ground and get it going. And it was really very cool to be part of that. And I love all of it. I mean, we've gone through some hard times, but we've also done so much fun things.
We have, but one of the most fun things, but good lessons that we learned at the same time was our trip to Catalina. Remember that? Okay, so we have a no alcohol rule at SeneGence events. And
this
that,
is why.
That was put into place immediately following our first leaders conference.
Yes.
To Catalina Island. And I just remember the weekend was a haze because I don't think I ever really got to sleep because so much stuff was going on. It was really fun to have our first leaders recognition programs put into place, but of course we wanted it to be a very fancy event. Yes. And a very abundant. Yes. Type of event. So we brought over, of course, our chefs and our people who would serve all the drinks, which included alcohol.
Included wine, bottles of red wine and white wine that never got empty.
And bottles and bottles full. And it turned out that, a lot of the girls hadn't spent time away from their family. Right. With a never-ending abundance of alcohol.
Freedom and no responsibilities.
And they're safe on this little island, right? So you can't go very far.
Can't drive.
But apparently we just made havoc of the town, and the town just became a huge party place. And I remember in the morning...
Dancing on the tables.
And I remember in the clothes are in the trees. Like, it was just...
Oh, my gosh.
People were I think the police department's getting phone calls about
is this SeneGence company?
The loud women outside. Yeah. And anyway, I remember at the end of the trip, the mayor of the city said it was really great having you all here. Please don't come back. You brought lots of commerce to our town, but we can do without it.
Politely.
Yeah. And we haven't been back since.
No, we need to do that. We need to go back and show them that we've grown up.
I don't know
we've
about
grown
that.
up now.
Well, there still is no alcohol at our events, but somehow we tend to have fun at our events anyway.
We have so much fun.
Yeah.
We have so much fun. We've been on so many trips around the world, and it's just been so funny. And changes we've changed so much. We've evolved. I think the word evolve,
our seminar.
It's this year.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's the name of it. Evolve.
I did not even realize that until
Yeah.
I just thought Evolve. And then that's the name of our seminar this year.
That's right.
Because we have evolved.
So much. We've morphed.
Yes, we have. And you have.
So have you.
I've watched you.
I've been watching you.
I'm sure you have. But we've gone through a lot. Mm-hmm. We've gone through personal stuff, lots of, marriages.
Life-changing.
Marriages, not marriages, all that stuff.
Well, I was married only once during this.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I'm talking about me. You've watched all that, and oh my gosh, it's just been really, we've had children.
Mm-hmm. You're a grandmother.
I'm a grandmother of
had
4
a new
now.
baby.
You had a child after Alan. You had William at 50 years old, and you were traveling. Do you remember? You were traveling all over the country doing trainings when you were pregnant at 50 years old, and you were going across the whole entire country training distributors.
Well, we were in the Cinebus, which we still
Cinebus.
have.
Yeah,
and I was on that couch most of the time.
Yeah, but you were doing.
Yeah.
You were just beautiful, and
Thank
you just look
sweet.
You looked so beautiful when you were pregnant.
Thank you.
You just glowed.
I just saw a picture of Ben and I kissing, and
Ben is her husband.
Framed, yes, somewhere in the house.
Yeah.
At seminar when I was probably 6 months pregnant with William. That just reminded me of that. Time has flown by so quickly.
Now he's 11, right?
He is.
He's 11 because my grandson they're the same age, and then my oldest grandson is 14 now, and then I've got 2 littles. But so we've seen each other's lives change.
And your kids were in junior high when you started?
My daughter was in junior high, and my son was in high school.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy? It's been a long time. It's kind of weird because somebody was asking me yesterday, you've been in the company 20 years? I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't, you think 20 years is so much time.
It feels like 5.
It does. It feels like it's just flown by. And I just am so thankful. I'm so thankful that God gave you a vision. I really, truly believe that. And you followed through. Because what if you wouldn't have?
Oh, I couldn't have lived with myself.
But the vision that God gave you and how he supported you and blessed you through a lot of hard times. And,
That's one of the hardest lessons, too, to learn is that even when times are tough, you never quit. When, it seems like the world is against you and everything is working against you. And, you might feel betrayed by people you love and you don't know what's on the other side of a wall, and to just try to hold on to that thread of faith that you have, knowing that it's worth it, and to not quit and to not give up. I think that's the hardest lesson to learn. And I think so many people quit.
Yes.
Just because of that. But it's not just because of that. It is really the forces that are constantly beating down on you to try to get you to change your mind or to quit. So I think one of the hardest things to learn over a 20-year period of time, looking back, is that when it seems that the world is against you, and everything seems to be going wrong, and that's it. It seems to be going wrong because it's not what you as a human being had imagined should be going right. When in fact, I think truly it's God trying to fix something he doesn't want to be a part of what his vision is moving forward. And one of the hardest lessons to learn is that if it's not going right the way you're doing it, just to make a shift and do it a different way, and that shift is what opens up the doors. And that includes not only processes and business practices, it includes people. I think people are brought into the system to give a certain gift.
Yes.
And when that has been completed based on his timing.
Yes.
If you won't allow them to leave, he's going to find a way to get it out, to purge it, to make it gone.
Yeah, and
because
I
that
agree.
person might have something else to go do.
Yes.
That's more important, or just as important, and has to be moving on. Whereas we don't see that type of overall wisdom and value. And I have learned over 20 years to sit more quietly and to listen to the voice within, and to watch the people interact, listen to the ideas and concepts, and then really think about what is the best way to move forward. And if it's not gelling, then to allow it to shift to this new way. And then it seems like, the skies open up and it's, and of course that was the path. That was the right path. But that was a really tough lesson to learn, because I think we always think we have this idea of what we think success needs to look like, or who needs to be there alongside us. And you know as well as I do, not everybody you bring into your life is going to be with you, although you think they are,
right?
That it wasn't meant to be. So we have to be gracious enough and loving enough to allow people to come in and out, to bless them and to release them to go on. But yet we have to be and hold on to that thread of faith, which allows us to know that regardless of what our expectations are, it's going to be even better if we just allow it to happen and never, never, never quit.
Never.
Never.
My motto for my team, they know, keep on keeping on. And there's a lot of powerful lessons behind just that simple saying, keep on keeping on. Because it's a persistence, it's consistency, it's never quitting. For you in the corporate level, for me in the field, for me in my life, for you in your life, it's about learning. And I have learned over the years too. My lesson to me is that I've had to listen to my small inner voice, that voice of God that is telling you and leading you in different directions. But a lot of times you don't listen because you think you know in your head, or you know what I mean? Your head and your heart are not attached sometimes, kind of. And so I've had to learn that lesson too, and to have faith. Faith is such a big key, and to never quit, because I think a lot of people quit right before their miracle happens. Right before they see the skies open up. And if they would have just hung in there, whether it's in business or in marriage or in anything, if they would have just hung in there, but also the lessons of learning how to be a better you, like, you know what I mean? Because I've evolved as far as a person. Like, I'm not the same person that I was when I started my SeneGence business. I've learned so much about myself even. I've learned about business. And I'm still learning every day. It's not like I've arrived or anything, but I've evolved, and I've seen you evolve as a person. I've seen you evolve, and you've seen me evolve as a person. And then as an owner of a business, and me as in the field as a distributor, you've seen that too. So I think this business model of direct sales is such a great way for that to happen.
It is, and we're a little different as a company in that it is a priority of ours to evolve the whole person, the whole woman. We don't talk just about business.
No.
We talk about family and social skills and manners and grace.
You've even given us etiquette lessons before.
Yes, and community involvement, as well as all the things you need to do for your business, because I personally think women can have it all. I mean, there are people who say no one can have it all. I think you can have it all. But you have to learn how to balance it.
Yes.
You have to learn how to keep your priorities together. And you have to learn to continually get up when you think you failed. And that's it. People think they failed when in fact it was just part of the journey. It's not a failure. It's a shift. It's no, don't do it that way. Let's think about and be more creative about a different way to do it. It's kind of like the Thomas Edison thing. How many times did he try to
so many,
invent
right?
Over and over and over again.
Over and over.
Building a business is exactly that. You just keep your eye on the end goal, and you continually make little shifts one at a time until you get there. I mean, who would have thought that would have been happening 20 years ago on that wall?
No, I know. I mean, all of
never. But one thing at a time, and that's a different level. You know, that's the next level.
It is, and we do go through levels of life. I mean, we just do, and there's different stages of life too. Like
as there's different stages of business, and so now we're at this new stage. You and I are at a new stage in evolvement. Yeah. Evolve. There's that word again.
Yeah.
And so too is the company, and we're about to be a global force to be reckoned with. I mean, we have a vision. Our vision is to be the largest cosmetic company in the world. That has changed. It used to be the largest cosmetic company in the world. Now, I mean, it used to be the largest direct selling cosmetic company in the world.
Okay.
And now it is to be the largest cosmetic company in the world with the greatest amount of women working part-time, earning more than the average 40-hour worker, and we reference that to the American worker because it's a good number. So we know, backing into our compensation plan, our product line, if you were to give women a choice, it all comes back to what they want. Don't get in your own way. Let everyone choose whether or not they want to become a distributor of the product or a customer of the product. If you were to back into doing that on a very part-time basis, you would achieve that number and more.
Right. It's powerful.
It is very powerful. The whole thing
very
works.
Powerful.
It's amazing how it all comes together if you just choose to live life in love and abundance and then work for it.
And that is the key. Work for it.
Love you. Thank you for this time.
Oh, love you too. Thank you so much. God bless.
Thank you for tuning in. If you would like to hear more from Jeri, subscribe to the Cuppa with the Queen podcast, where you will learn more about how you can grow your own home-based business. Find Jeri at JeriTaylor-Swade.com and on Facebook at Cuppa with the Queen.